Hello everyone, welcome to Ring Diaries. It's yet another Saturday when we talk about anything and everything to do with marriage. I keep saying I'm not bringing experts, we're just sharing our experiences and seeing how to make our marriages better. And this evening we're going to talk about something I am part of and Patience is part of. And we're going to talk about intertribal marriages. Now this is part of us. And one of the things we do here at Ring Diaries is we bring real people with real experiences so that we see how best to make our marriages work. So this evening, I'm honored to host Patience Ssemanda, who's been married for 21 years. Patience Kukundakwe Ssemanda. Yes. I had to emphasize that because of that topic. You're welcome, Patience.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So you've been married for 21 years?
Yes.
Wow. That's quite a journey. How has it been?
Praise the Lord and good evening, viewers. Good evening, children of God. Good evening, everyone. It's been a great experience, adventurous as it is. I'm an adventurous person.
Really?
Yes, I am.
Even after 21 years, you're still adventurous.
Oh, yes, I do.
They tell us those things die out in the first
They do.
1 year.
They do not. If you find your real love, what God has ordained for you, every day is honeymoon. Yes.
21 years?
21 years.
That's amazing.
I called him as I said, and he says, yes, hi baby. I said, I'm going to Family TV and I'll send the regards. And says, please do.
Please send your regards to you.
Regards from Mr. Robert Ssemanda, very fine, alive and kicking, and we are still in love after 21 years.
Okay, I think you'll have to come back sometime and tell us about how you can stay in love after 21 years.
Yes, please.
But today we want to talk about intertribal marriage.
Yes.
So I think for the sake of our viewers, what tribe are you?
Patience Kukundakwe Ssemanda is born to a Mchiga mother and a Mnyankole father. Raised up in the Machiga culture, meaning I grew up from the mother's side. So you already have, those are two cultures.
Already those are two. And
then when it reaches marriage, you bring in the central, which is the Muganda. So
this is Munyankole Muchiga. That is, okay, you can say it's a bit close.
A little
but there are some differences.
Very, very good. Yeah.
And then in the mix, you add a Muganda.
You put in the flower of a Muganda.
So how was it? How was when you introduced this topic of getting married to a Muganda? How was it received? How did your family receive it?
Now let me begin with myself. It wasn't an easy one for me. I always thought not a Muganda.
Definitely.
Not a Muganda.
Why?
I never trusted a Muganda. And we used to say this, the saying of Obote, a good Muganda is a dead one.
So you also knew it was.
And I always rebuked my cousins, never bring a Muganda man here. And then you find you called Mrs. Semabafo, Sebitakuli. And you know, and we would laugh it. So on my wedding, they were like, so today you're Mrs. Who?
Most likely Sebitakuli.
So you have brought the se, which you always warned us about. But friends, when God has destined you for someone and you walk into that destiny, that is all. You have achieved life. If you make a mistake at marriage, then you live hell on earth. Seriously. That's a torture for you. So it was the issue of obeying God. When the issue came of marrying a Muganda, I refused it.
You must have struggled a bit.
Not a bit. It was 1.5 years of making a decision.
Really?
Yes. I went to the reverend who was serving in church and I told him what I'm feeling and what I'm hearing. I don't think it is true. We're all serving on the same committee. And worst of all, this man is a Muganda. And the reverend was a Mchiga. I expected him to support me.
Yes.
And he said,
get you someone from that side.
Thank you. He was a very polite gentleman and very spiritual. And he told me, be objective. I've never forgotten that statement.
Be objective.
Be objective. The little English I had done, I was not very sure what that sentence meant. I had to go and look up
What does being objective mean
about this. And 3 days later, the words he had told me, I met another elder. He told me the same words.
Be objective.
Look beyond the person you're seeing and look at the future and what God has in store for you. I'm a prayerful person.
Okay.
You cannot juggle this life without prayer.
Definitely.
I can assure you, prayer is the key to everything.
True.
Whether it is riches, whether it's academics, whether it's marriage, whatever it is on earth, God gave us one key, and that's prayer. So I went into prayer and asked God, if this is a real man, show yourself.
Show me a sign.
And I no longer want people from around, because we've been serving in church. Everybody thinks now we match each other because we serve in the same committee. We do what? I needed strangers. The first lady I met was from Tanzania as a missionary to Uganda, and told me, my daughter, you have to be very serious with my son. And I'm like, watch the space. What do you call yourself? You know, you have this. I told you I was brought up by a Mchiga mother.
And the strength of a Mchiga.
You know the strength of a Mchiga, and then you're about to tell her, what do you call yourself? And who is that son anyway? I listened to her. The words were the same.
And you asked God for confirmation.
I met a lady from Malawi, Shabiemba, Christine. I remember her names very well. The words were the same. I tried to run away from the relationship, but still praying. I even called him and told him, forget about me. When we meet at church, even don't greet me. I'm not interested in this relationship. And he's a very quiet man and a very noisy person. And as I entered my room, the Holy Spirit was so loud. I'd never heard God speak to me so audibly. That is the last person you should hurt on earth. And I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean? I cried the whole night for God's mercy. Remember, I've told him not to talk to me. And here God is rebuking you.
For hurting him.
You're not supposed to hurt. You will hurt other people in life, but not this one. Yes.
What was special about this man and God?
He was in full-time ministry serving God at the institution I was on. Yes, me as a student in chapel, but for him, he was serving full-time ministry and was very diligent with his service with God. Now, I couldn't go back to tell him sorry, the arrogance and the pride of Bachiga,
Please understand.
Please, so I'm like, God, now sort it. As I am still in that dilemma, another person makes an appointment that he wants to meet the two of us.
About something completely different.
No, the same relationship, but he doesn't know that I made a statement of
to the other one.
Look for me. Now I get a phone call and we are supposed to meet, and we met the person at Sheraton, I remember. And the person says, I want to see the two of you move forward.
And therefore you gave an ultimatum.
Now that ultimatum was broken by that meeting at Sheraton. And the relationship began that day. And for 1.5 years, I was asking God for a sign. Today, if he's the real man, let him bring flowers. Today. I need chocolate without calling him. Today. This and this. And God kept fulfilling for 1.5 years, because I told God, I've been brought up in a broken family. I don't want to go in a wrong relationship. I didn't want in Uganda, he's the one you have brought. You have to be very sure
before you go into
you have to assure me 100%
beyond reasonable doubt
that you're in this. And God, if you're not in this, we part ways.
Wow.
And God was faithful. So on the 9th of November 2002, I made the vow.
Wow.
That was after 1.5 years
Of him proving himself.
Proving himself that he was from God.
So, was there, apart from your personal struggles, what were the people around you saying about you getting married to a Muganda?
The first question was all the way from Kabare through Ntunga Mumbarara. You have failed to get a man.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say there are no men there, they are finished?
Possibly.
No, but that was God's choice.
That was God's choice.
And that was God's guidance. What I did, I respected my mother. I lost a father when I was young. So, a year before I had told my mother, I'm going to get married to a Muganda.
Did that break her heart?
And she says, can you bring him home? I said, yes. So for us, our kuchala was a one-man kuchala. I called him and says, if you're serious in this relationship, that was one of the tests, by the way.
Come and meet mommy.
Come and meet my mother. Tomorrow, just jump into a bus.
And you come.
And come.
And
our home was along the road. We shall wait for you at the road path.
So he got onto a bus?
He got onto a bus, came and met my mother. For 2 days they talked. I said, ask him whatever question.
So he stayed there for 2 days. I need to meet this man.
You need to.
I am trying to understand a normal man going through all that.
Yes, and alone.
Wow.
So after the visit, he came back to Kampala.
And your mother gave a blessing.
I told Mom, you've seen him. I shouldn't hear it anywhere else. It is between us and you until when we are ready for the function. Remember, he's in full-time ministry. He's not entitled to a big salary. So there's nothing like any pompous ceremony. So for that 1 year we kept now raising funds.
So did mommy, just to take you back, what was mommy's response? Was she okay with all this after meeting him?
She was very, very okay. Very okay. And I remember one time, one of my uncles, he passed on, he says, if the marriage fails you, it will be you.
Not you as an individual.
Not him. Don't expect us in any single day to support
you.
Because for you, you're rowdy, you're loud, but the other one is calm.
And quiet.
Quiet. 3 words in a whole day. Me is 1,001 words.
But now you see, Patience, for you, your mother was open to meeting.
Yes.
But I think you've seen people whereby even, I don't want to meet the person.
Yes.
As long as you've said, it's a Muganda. It's a Northerner, it's a Munyankole. I don't want to meet the person. What do you say about that? If you were the girl and for you, now for your sake, your mother was open. But what if she wasn't?
God is a faithful God.
Mm.
I began by saying nothing is impossible with God.
Yes.
Prayer makes, the anointing makes things easy.
Mm.
It does. We served God with Him and we had been friends for a long time. Okay. All the family challenges we had gone through, He always came home. He had even traveled to Kabale to bury my grandparents when they passed on. Okay. So when He comes on the scene as the person to take me up, one of my uncles says, it's better to go with a person who already knows us.
Yes.
He knows how rowdy we are, how rough we are, so we are safer with this one. What am I driving at? Marry your friend. Marry your friend.
Not a Muganda, not a Munyankole.
It's not about a Muganda, a Munyankole, a husband, a man, a rich man, a poor man, an educated man. Marry your friend. So that you're able to walk life together.
So after 21 years, do you regret your decision of marrying a Muganda?
I do not. Number one, I didn't know Luganda by the time I left Chambogo. So when I realized I'm going to get married to a Muganda, and we went and visited the mom. The mom is a town person. They stay in Kajansi. That's my village. So, we are town
you're the town people.
We are the town dwellers. He normally tells me that they are the ones who they crawled from NASA and learned to walk at City Square.
City Square, yes.
I shouldn't expect a lot of villaging. So I had to learn Luganda.
But now, why struggle to learn Luganda when you can get a Muchiga and be happy?
God's choice is the best.
God's choice.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter whether he tells you go with a Chinese today and that is what he has told you. Move on.
So what happens to some of us who parents actually refuse?
Parents refuse.
When you're sure, maybe for you're sure it is God's choice and your heart is comfortable with it, but your parents actually refuse.
God will always make a way. One thing, that's why I did 1 year of between the functions and my mother being aware of this. So that she gets over all the questions, all the fears as a mother.
So you think it is
not
important
telling your parents today
and the
and
wedding,
then next month we are wedding. No.
So you need to introduce this
Before
slowly.
you go serious in this relationship, think about your parents.
But girls now are like, well, like me, the marriage is mine. Why am I thinking about my parents?
And how many marriages are standing?
I don't know.
Thank you. Every time you tell people at the workplace, when you tell them 20, 21, and somebody looks at you, somebody walks to me and says, I'm struggling with 4 years, and for you, you're saying 18. That time I was 18 years. How do you make it? I'm like, really? He says, yes, I'm struggling at 4
years in marriage.
Yes.
So you think we need to actually prepare parents?
You need to prepare parents. You need to take it before God.
But why should it be an issue what tribe the person is?
To me, it's not an issue, by the way.
But why is it an issue to other people?
It's the perspective of people, the exposure, and somebody thinking. I grew up with a grandfather who was so liberal, very liberal. He used to tell us he's international. And truth be told, because we have a Nubian in that home, we have a Langi in that home, we have a person from the UK, we have Baganda.
What is?
We have, I think, Acholis, we have Batoro. So for
all in one household.
Yeah, the daughters, because he produced so many girls, many girls and few boys. So they brought all the tribes. So to us,
and he was open to all the tribes. He
always told us, welcome everybody.
Maybe that's where it came from, that you could be okay with marrying a Muganda.
To me, but my family, when the function reached, everybody was like, how? Where? But I was very, very comfortable that I had a yes from my mother.
So how did you handle these people who are saying how, when, where, how? Our daughter, Muganda.
In life, not everybody will clap for you. No. Not all of us are Arsenal, not all of us are Man U. There will be those to be on your side. So separate. Be clear of who is for you and who is against you. Not only in marriage, by the way, even in business, even in academia, even in your workplace. Identify the encouragers, identify the people who are positive, and work with that positive. Those with negative energy, eliminate.
Okay.
Yes, it is
hard.
What
happens if the one with a positive energy is someone very close to you?
It happens, and it is painful, very painful. I've seen some of my friends go through it. You find you postponed a function for more than a year, even 2 years, even 3
because
years.
Your father
because
said
you're still waiting for your father to say yes. I have seen couples who move ahead. The pastors wed them
without the blessing of the father.
Yes,
parents.
And the parents bless them like after 15 years. All in the name of tribal. In our family, this tribe does not cook. For us, we call it cooking. It is so painful when your family does not stand with you or receive you.
So what do we do in that instant?
You still need a support system. Friends. who understand what you're going through, and seek the face of God. I've seen a Muslim walk down the daughter into Namirembe Cathedral. And that gave me the courage of respect your parents. If this Muslim man can allow to walk into an Anglican cathedral and give away the daughter himself, that meant your relationship with your parents matter and your respect. And when the clerics came against him, he told them, "Can I go tomorrow and they baptize me?" And everybody shut down. So what am I bringing? Respect your parents, have a support system. I know there are extremes where we'll have to go against, but once God is so clear with you on the person, keep focused. He's faithful. At the end, I know we are more than conquerors.
Yes, we are.
We are. There is a lot of adjustment you have to do. It's not a bed of roses.
Yes,
it is. I remember some of the homes, because my hardest thing was kneeling.
Oh, I still can't kneel. But and that's where I wanted us to go after you have circumvented all the people saying no, and you finally get married. There are those moments you're like, I think this is what they were talking about. Because honestly speaking, there are differences.
Very.
There are differences.
They are.
So how do we handle these differences?
Appreciate the differences as they come and ask for the grace to adjust to the differences.
But some things are so hard.
They are.
Must I kneel for everything?
My husband is so sensitive about the kneeling. To the point that when you're visiting a particular home, he will tell you, this home is for kneeling. So he warns you.
He warns you and also prepares you
that this aunt we are going to see,
you must kneel.
This one must kneel. My mother-in-law knows kneeling is an issue. The moment I arrived, she said, just be comfortable on your mat, don't worry. Because they accept you as a child as who you are, but some of them are still rigid. Rigid, by the way. As a daughter-in-law, you're not supposed to enter the house from the front. Yes.
No way. What's wrong with the front?
So when you're going to such homes, you're alerted, and as you're approaching, they say, "Hey, and then you hear, say, there are some daughters-in-law coming, so they're not supposed to use the front door. You use the behind door." Oh, yes.
Isn't it at that moment you're like, okay, Daddy was right. I should have stayed with that much.
No, but then it doesn't remove anything from you.
I know.
You just use the behind door, which they are comfortable with, and you not get close to where they are, because if they are the fathers-in-law, then you greet from the other side and go behind and do your other stuff.
Oh, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation of how to handle the intertribal marriages when you're already there. Because now we've known, yes, you're there, you have. How do we handle them? Don't go away. I'm Fiona Mboa here at Church of Uganda Family TV with Ring Diaries. Welcome back. This is Fiona Mboa here at Church of Uganda Family TV. I don't know if today I should say I'm Fiona Kukunda Mboa, because for the sake of the topic. And we are talking about intertribal marriages. And before we went for the break, Patience here was telling us how she was able to convince the man, literally, I think a full year, to just prepare her and make sure she's ready for the new Muganda in-law. And that worked for you. And we're also talking about how to handle once we are there. Because I've noticed the differences are there.
Very.
Now for us, Banyankole Bachiga, you're going to hug your father-in-law. Then you try it in Uganda.
You do not. You run away. You
want to break the man's back because he will try to run away.
He will try to run.
So when we are there, how do we handle?
Friends, obedience in life, I think, and humility are very important. It's one thing that will always open a door for you as well. As long as they know you're doing it not because you're arrogant, they bear with you.
But some even when they know you don't know, they want you to do these things.
Yes, they want to see you try. At least if you fail to kneel, at least be on the mat down. You don't be on a chair.
You come and stand.
You don't be on a chair when
you
your
stand.
father-in-law is on a chair. You don't even stand.
Yes.
You're supposed to be down. And you lose nothing.
So meaning we need to be willing to learn this new culture.
You're willing to learn, you're willing to obey, and even to ask.
But what if you ask and people don't help you?
No, your partner, your partner is your first friend. That's why I began by saying marry
your friend.
You're not just a commodity in that home, but you're a partner. You're a counterpart in that marriage. And if the marriage is to work, it is the two of you. If they're talking about Mrs. Ssemanda, Mr. Ssemanda has to be
somewhere backing you up.
So the mistakes I make are all piled on him, and vice versa from my side.
So he needs to learn and teach you actually.
Yes. And some things he'll tell you, this one I don't mind.
But you see, my issue is usually they don't mind. It's the family that minds.
But you never married the family.
But it's the family that is going to watch you.
It watches you, but one is you don't meet them every day.
True.
The beauty of the working mothers and the working people, you're either at home or you're at work. So you saw them on functions or on a deliberate visit.
How about for some of our viewers who stay with them?
It is well. That's why I'm saying learn what they want. If they want to eat their greens in this way, then learn how to prepare them. I've seen husbands train their women how to do the kalo when they didn't know.
Okay, that's also something our husbands have had to learn. Eating kalo, I find it dirty. How do
It's not dirty.
It looks dirty.
It is not dirty.
And like for me, I'm from there, but I find it dirty. Now imagining also I'm Ghana looking at where people eating dirty food. So there's an adjustment that has to be made on their end.
Yes. There's a lot of adjustment both sides. And that is now the beauty of long courtships.
Okay.
That by the time you decide to get married, you've seen all this happen around each other.
You've gone to a burial, you've seen how they behave there.
Because you go for their burials, you go for their wedding functions, you go to their birthdays, you see her cook, if you visit how she cooks. Not this, we met yesterday and tomorrow we are getting married.
How about dressing?
Gomez. Oh, that
Gomez.
The Gomez you put on and then you sweat and then the kitambara is like this. But in the 21 years now, I've learned to put on a Gomez.
I may have found a way around it. I have one with a zip, one with things here stuck on.
So you keep those good dresses. They're like a Gomez.
And just stuck on
and those
things.
who want really tie the shirt, it is well. You practice, they feel really, really good by the way when you put them on. Because I had never seen my mother-in-law happy until one afternoon. I decided to go to check on her and I was in a Gomez. She danced for me. She clapped hands. And I told the son, wow, this speaks volumes.
True.
So all along I've been coming in a dress and she was not amused. And you know the Baganda,
and she won't tell you.
They're not Bachiga. Bachiga will tell you, why are you dressed like this? And then it is okay. But for them, that is okay.
They don't want to annoy you.
They don't want to annoy you. They defend you. They do what? But inwardly, you don't get to know what.
But when she's happy.
When she's happy,
no.
She danced for me because I was putting on a Gomez. So that told me
that every time you should visit.
So when I'm going to visit, I mark what I'm dressing.
So that's, I think, something we should actually
learn.
Very,
very important.
Learn your people.
You learn them, learn what they love, give them their respect, by the way. When they come to your home, how do you treat them? Are they a priority or are they non-entities in your home?
Non-entities?
You don't mind whether they are around or not.
No. Your life goes on.
How are you going to cook?
That's the other thing. Matoke.
Yes.
Steaming matoke for 24 hours.
And then you tie it, by the way, so you make sure you have the dry and the wet banana leaves. The green one and the
for us, it just...
For us. So...
I've suffered with us. But anyway, so the point is you need to learn. Whether you've been married, you've gotten married to an Itesot or you've gotten married to a Karamajong, you need to learn their ways and take them as priority.
The moment they realize you're learning.
You're putting in that time.
They know you're really trying. Than saying, hey, where I grew up, they don't do those things.
I don't kneel, and I'm not going to kneel for anyone.
You know, I don't want to know. That attitude of I don't want to know is not the best in a marriage. And especially when you're crossing boundaries. Because they will think you're taking them for granted.
But patience, isn't that why people say to save all this, to save ourselves? Everyone stay in your tribe and let's be happy. Because if I get married to an Itesot and I'm an Itesot, we know how to handle ourselves. Instead of bringing in these things, and now I'm starting to learn at the age of 30 something, I need to start learning a new tribe. And if when children come along, you have to even learn the language. As you said, you have to learn Luganda after campus. Isn't it better we just marry our people and be happy?
I told you in the beginning, you do not marry a tribe.
You marry the individual.
Marriage is ordained from God. He's the founder of marriage. He's the one who started it. So if God has destined you to be married to this person and you miss out, truth be told, you'll struggle in life.
You'll get your Muchiga and you will struggle.
You'll struggle with your Muchiga, you'll fight with your Muchiga, you'll do everything with your Muchiga. And there will never be peace.
So, as reading Genesis 24, verse 1 to 14, when Abraham was asking one of his servants to go get Isaac a wife, and he was very clear to say, get one from his people. One of his relatives, actually, I think he goes ahead to say one of his relatives. Don't get from the Canaanites. Just, wasn't that giving us a way we should all go?
As Christians, Jesus says, those who do the will of God are my brothers and sisters. So what binds us in life is our belief, our commitment to the Lord. Not the tribal. Because what altar are you bringing in? He was basically fighting the foreign gods that the Canaanite women, even he says, they might cause my son to go off. Meaning, if you're a Christian, marry a Christian. Keep bringing different altars would bring a lot of conflict.
Emotion, yes.
Yes. Yes. So it's not about when he says my father's house, because he says in my father's house, meaning now, me and you, if we're Christian, we are under one father. It's not a Lukbara, it's not a Ruo, it's not a Mchiga, it's not a Kalmajong. We are all one in Christ.
That is good, because I've had people actually use that as a reason to say, even Abraham wanted his son to be married to his tribe. Why are we being intermarrying?
Yeah, because he was avoiding the foreign gods of the Canaanites coming in. He was already having a covenant with God. Never to bring in any other, and never to bow down to any other God.
Now, talking about covenants, one of my friend's fathers actually made a vow that my child will never marry another. Like a vow. He actually swore. I think there are those things they do and swear. And lo and behold, the daughter gets another. Wow. What do you do if you're the daughter and your father has told you from childhood, I made a vow that my daughter will never marry another? And you're sure this is the northerner God wants you to take.
And that's a big challenge, by the way. When people are truly, truly in love, you say very little. And some of these young kids are really determined to move forward.
With or without a blessing.
And I think that's why we have a lot of cohabitation, we do not consult anyway. Who cares? But as a parent, you think twice. This is your child. And he's also marrying another person's child. It's not an animal.
But we are told that parents know best.
Really?
Yes, they say parents know best.
One thing I know, we're supposed to respect them. They might not know the best. All they need is our respect. Because they say, respect your father and mother, that you may live longer.
So meaning I can actually respect you and tell you, Daddy.
With all due
With
respect.
all due respect, I am
There's an
beating
issue here. And let's solve it this for the other. And God will give you that grace. If really God has affirmed that that is your husband, may I believe you will go for that marriage. Yes.
But also, haven't you seen people who insist that the marriage is terrible? Like you're sure this is the person God has for you, and you go ahead and marry them against your parents' wish, and the marriage goes terrible. And you start saying, "Oh, my mother told me, my father told me." But yet, on the other hand, there are those who have gone ahead, and actually the marriages have been blessed.
Truth be told, the respect for the parents is very important. You need that blessing. You need that blessing. And that's why I insisted on my mother having a full year for herself.
To be comfortable.
To go through all the emotions, to go through all the frustrations she thought, to go through and ask. I kept telling her, ask whatever question. His number is this, my number is this.
So we need to win the parents over.
You really need to win the parents over, because their blessing matters. Because somebody sang that the parents are the gods on earth.
Yes.
Yes. So you need both parents' blessing and how to walk with you the journey.
What if they're just being irrational?
It depends on how somebody has really handled it.
Because the parents who bring their heart into this. Like I was hurt by a Muchiga, my child will never be married to a Muchiga. And yet, as you've said, we marry individuals.
We marry individuals.
So, isn't there a time when it's actually okay to just go without the blessing?
But you keep it in prayer. I'm telling you, I have a personal friend and a colleague. We got the blessing when she was already having her 4th child.
And now is that a blessing if I have still gone ahead?
He did. He came over and walked her to church.
But he didn't.
And the pastor announced and says, I think we're like in 12 years or 13. He said, told the church, I think we waited this couple 12 years ago. Today we are receiving the parents' blessing and consent. And they blessed their rings. And we actually did a reception, a full one.
Wow.
A full one.
After 12 years in marriage?
After 12 years, we got the blessing and the consent.
So we should not just give up like I'm married, what more do I need? Keep pursuing.
You keep pursuing. I know some who have done 7, others 5 years.
You see also us as parents, and I keep telling my husband that I hope I'm not that parent who's actually going to refuse. Of course, at the back of the mind,
you're trying to protect your little child.
Exactly.
You're a mother. You're a mother.
You protect your child.
But look also the other side. The other one is also a child from another mother.
Who cares about that? I'm caring about my own. Yes. And anyway, I think we should actually think about the other side.
Please do.
Most times we think about just our own and we forget. Also, their family must be struggling. The Muganda bringing a Muchiga, like, who does that? So we keep looking at it from our side, but we never actually pause to look at it from the other side.
But if if you approached it from the Christian background, and the two of us are believers, then there is nothing. There is no Greek, there is no Jew, there is no Gentile in Christ. Meaning there is no Mucholi, there is no Muganda, there is no Muchiga in Christ.
We are all the same.
So the two parents should be able to meet together if we are. It becomes different if we have different altars. Then that's diverse.
But if the altar is the same.
If the altar is the same and we're all coming to the holy table, we're all saying Christ is our personal Lord and Savior. then how does it? If we are praying to the same God, you're telling God now, don't allow my daughter to marry. Then the other one says, please allow. So what do you want? What do you want God to do?
Answer my prayer.
And then the other one is also asking. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that's a different way of looking at it.
It is.
We should actually not look at the tribes. We are all one.
At the cross it is leveled. There's no PhD, there's nothing, there's no maturity, there's no I ended in P1.
Interesting. So for some of us who are already in those marriages, and maybe some we don't have blessings and some we have, how best do we go about it? About making these marriages work? Because I know I've seen couples who've really struggled because of this, to the point that they have actually left the marriage because of the tribes. Your people don't accept me, my people don't accept you, so what are we doing here? And some people have actually failed to get married to the people they thought were their partners because of what family thinks and the tribal thing. So for people out there that are struggling with this, what advice do you give them?
As I said, marriage was started by God. Take it back to God. Yes. If this car fails, you take it to the manufacturers.
And you say, God, this is your
thing.
Sort it.
Please sort it. Because you, in your own capacity, you can't handle. Truthfully, you can't handle. Some of the things are so deep, by the way. You already have children, and the children don't even have where to belong. We are going to take it back to God. And He will give a solution. He will.
Wow. Some things are hard. Actually, some things in these tribes are really hard. Like you find something that is so strange to you, and yet, but as you've said, we need to keep learning.
We keep learning. And number 2, you're not going to bow down to some of the cultural traditions which are against the ways of God. That's why I'm saying we go back to the faith.
I used to struggle with Nyembe. I struggle with those things. But no, but please continue.
You struggle with them, but one thing that I will not recommend, and I will say strongly against anything that is against the will of God and the programs of God, marriage or no marriage, please do not venture into it, all in the name of love. Because you involve yourself in a wicked covenant that you will never come out.
And your children will take over.
And your children and your children's children, because it keeps you in bondage. So don't just say, because the Wachiga do this, let me do it for the sake of my husband. Ask him, what is the connotation of this? What is the significance of this? What does it help us? And if it is not building your family, ask him, can we politely pull out on this one? Like for us, our family, no, we do not go for a nyimbe. We do not.
And that's how they say we spoiled their sons.
Yeah. No, not because I'm a Mchiga, but because we are born again.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Then we need to separate, because for them, most times people say, especially the things about digging, whatever. And when you have issues with them, they're like, the Mchiga is now taking our son. But if we look at it from the element of faith, it is not because I'm a Muchiga. No. It is because I'm a child of God. I will not be able to do that. I will
not involve myself in a nyimbe. Yes.
Okay. I've actually got a different perspective of this inter.
Yes, it is very, very important for you to know what you believe in and to stand by it, irrespective of your marriage or no marriage. I know the time they needed to give for us the Musika for our grandmother, the grandmother of my husband. We did an entire overnight. And we know that there are some families that have strategized. There are those gates at which they're supposed to call the spirits. At that particular moment, there was somebody preaching. And we did Jesus' film the whole night till morning.
Okay.
Yes. So it makes a difference of what you believe in. So if you have a partner who is born again and you're born again, then you walk hand in hand. Tribal challenges, you walk through together. intermarriages or no marriages,
You walk this
you
journey
walk
together.
Yes, because what does the Bible say? If Jesus was here with us, would he say yes? Would he clap for you for what you've done? Would he tell you, well done, son? Well done, daughter?
My faithful servant.
My faithful servant.
As we come to a close of this, I just want you to encourage our people who are struggling with that, not yet married, but struggling with the decision of he's a Mucholi, I am a Mugesu, he's a Musamia. They're struggling with such decisions. Please just give them a word as we come to an end of this conversation.
I want to encourage whoever is out there and you know you're dating a person, the person approaching you is not the same tribe as you are. Be objective. I want to give you the word I was first given. Be objective. Who is the person trying to date you? What is his walk? What is his stand in salvation? And what is your stand in salvation? That is all that matters. Friends, it's not about the riches, it's not about the tribe. Is this what God has called you to have? And if it is in God's perfect will, move on. God will make a way for you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Patience. Thank you very much for your time. And as we come to a close of this, you've heard for yourselves, people, it's not about the tribe. It's about the individual. You can be Tuba Chiga and you mess up the marriage very well, or Tuba Gis or Tuba Sami, whatever you are. So look at the person you're marrying, not the tribe or whatever, as long as you have the same faith. And I think that's what I've taken out of today. When Abraham was sending his servant to go and get someone from his family, it was about the altar. What altar are you sharing? It doesn't matter the color, the shape, whatever, as long as you have the same altar. Thank you very much for listening. Please stay tuned. I'm Fiona Mboa here at Church of Uganda Family TV with Ring Diaries.